So now that I have this filed away and it's flat and flush, let's see if I can get this, there we go, in focus. Again, I'm going to start working with my sandpaper. And I've got some pretty rough edges in here still, so what I find works best is just to take the sandpaper, and it's okay to fold it. And again, this is the 120 sandpaper. It's pretty rough stuff. And I'm going to just fold it in half. And again, I'm working on this surface so I don't scratch my table. And file that, or sand that rather, it's not filing anymore. And I'm just going to take the any rough burrs I had and get rid of them. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. And sanding doesn't take that long. I'm almost done with that part. Flip that. And then I want to sand the interior portion, so what I'm going to do is take my sandpaper, roll it up a little bit, so I get it in there, and then I'm not sanding the entire inside, although I could be. I'm kind of sanding like this portion right here along the sides until I feel it's nice and smooth. So I see I'm twisting, and then I'll go back on the other side again. And be careful, because every once in a while you'll notice the sandpaper gets worn out, so just pick a fresh spot on it. Again, sanding that down. Applying even pressure, and I'm just twisting. Okay, that's done. So then once I'm done with the 120 sandpaper, if it's still a pretty good sheet, it's reusable, so I'm going to put it back in the 120 bag for someone else to use. And then you work your way up. So from 120, we have other grits of sandpaper to use. And so I think I'm going to move up to 220 after 120. So I'll grab a piece of 220, which makes a finer scratch. So I'll grab one of these, and you repeat the process. Wherever you have a scratch, you're going to go back over. And again, I can fold this if it makes it easier for me to do this, because the sandpaper kind of tends to fold over, and just sand the top. Flip that. Flip it over. Sand again. Sand again. And then again on the interior portions. All the way around. Make sure you're using a fresh piece of sandpaper when you do these. Got a little bit of a scratch right there from before, so sand that off too. And then again, don't forget about that little tiny spot right there. Sand that down a little bit. Okay, sandpaper is falling apart. So that's my 220, and then I'd move up from there to 400. And I would rinse and repeat. So I would do it again with the 400, and then finally with the 600. And every single time I do this, the piece is going to get smoother and smoother. But sanding hopefully won't take as long as filing does, because especially if you work in this order. So again, go to 400, and you're going to notice that the 400 is much smoother. It's making a much finer scratch. And it's kind of hard to work with, so let me fold this in quarters this time around. There we go. Look at how scratched up this piece is getting. At least it's not my table. And again, if I have this part right here, I'm going to sand that down as well. See how that's getting nice and shiny right there? Getting rid of all my little scratches in there too in the process. I think that looks great. It's cleaning the metal in the process as well. So I'm going to sand the entire surface down as well with this. And once I'm done, and then I would do the same thing again. I'm skipping this, skipping ahead, but I would do the same thing again with the 600 sandpaper. And again, if this is still good, I put it back in the bag when I'm done.